Hello, my name is Anna Starkey, I'm from Prodio, and today I'm going to talk about 10 signs which might point to the fact that you might need production tracking and manufacturing control software. So, let's play a little test to see if you have one of those troubled areas in your company. Once you spot any of these parts I'm going to talk about, that should give you some food for thought to think whether you should consider having manufacturing execution system in your small company. First sign or first area, I'm gonna have here a little papers to see. Okay, I have here office and shop floor. If the workers, the staff from the office or from the sales department go very often to the shop floor to ask questions, to give feedback to the customer who asks, is my order ready, or what's the status of my order. They come to check on the progress of the products, of the orders. That means that you might need this traceability in your company because you don't have a clear communication system. Very good, they get friendly, they socialize, your workers, that's great, but these trips are unnecessary. You can communicate in much easier, paperless and smoother way. I have a question for you. When you close the door of your office, of your room, you come back home, do you still think about your production? Do you still check orders? Do you still go through all the papers, think how to plan the orders, reschedule, make changes, check the progress of something you're working on, and you end up having no family time, no quality rest, no, in fact, free time and no leisure time? If you answer yes, or even if you didn't say anything but quietly said, oh, that's my life, that's me, I know it, then I think you need manufacturing software, because software such as Prodio would help you to have more free time and to manage your production much better and in much easier way. Another sign you might need manufacturing tracking software is working on paper. If you have in your company paper notebooks, this is how workers communicate with each other. They write comments, they write orders in a paper notebooks. Then somebody else comes, the manager or you, and they cross things out, you make changes, it's unclear. Nobody knows which version is the last one, what is the updated version. You cross up measurements, so this is a perfect hub for mistakes to appear. And later on, when you get all these papers, you need to copy information into Excel, or what's worse, you need a person who would see it and painstakingly, slowly would copy all this information from paper orders from the notebooks to the Excel. Then I think it is a perfect place for mistakes to happen. Then I think you still need better traceability and better control over your manufacturer. Very close to that is pricing and cost. Something we like very much. Money, money, money. When you don't know the real price of your products, how much does it cost you to make the product? You don't know the labor time, the cost of the labor time, because that is what we're talking about here. So how can you give the customer the right estimate? How can you give the right price to the customer? Maybe you underprice your products and your orders. Maybe you pay too much for some parts of the process. The good manufacturing software will help you to control, get a grip, get a handle on the cost and pricing, and obviously make you more profit. Another sign, so we come smoothly, another paper is a profitability and profit. Imagine that you have a big order from a customer, you are happy, you start, oh, you see the money, so you start to counting, oh, I'm gonna make so much on it. You complete the order, customer paid, invoices are already paid, and at the end of the day, you end up very little margin, very little profit. What's happened? Where is the money? Well, it's probably due to some money leak. Some processes, some operations, some activities, you don't know they happen, you did not account for them, or you did not include them in your pricing. Thanks to production manufacturing software, you can trace the costs and you can forecast and estimate your profit. The profit you estimate is the profit you get at the end of the day. Money agrees, everything is ordered and organized. And of course you have more money, so you're a happier person. Another sign is productive time, is actually control of the productive time. Imagine that you have a production company, your manufacturer, workers come to work, they sign the name, so they are there at the shop floor. They are working. That's a question. If they are really working, maybe they are just present at the production hall. Maybe they lazy around. What's their productive time? How much time spent at the production hall is really the time spent in a productive way? Maybe your people just work from machine to machine, lazy around. They are present, but they don't work in. So thanks to manufacturing control software, you can monitor how much time spent at the premises of the company is productive. What's the labor cost? What's the production time? Think also about that when it comes to the end of the month or the quarter of the year, you want to give a bonus to your workers, or they come to you and ask for the pay rise. How can you compare them? How can you know that this person works better because they work longer? Who's more productive? Person A or person B? How can you allocate the bonus? It would help you much better to negotiate with them how much you can pay them if you know what's their productive time and what's the real cost of labor. Last but not least, complaints, another sign. First of all, nobody likes complaints, but they do happen. If you have many complaints in your company from customers, that's a good sign that something goes wrong. There is not smooth communication, the mistakes happen. The worst, if they are the same mistakes, they're repeatable mistakes. That's the worst. If you have a complaint from a customer, or you yourself or by the customer, you spotted a defect, that's important to know how it happened, to trace. The traceability is super important, to trace back that mistake, to know who is responsible, when it happened, which operation or which part of the process it happened, to prevent it in the future, not to make the same mistakes in the future. Thanks to the manufacturing control system, you can trace the mistake to see plainly and clearly who is responsible. And what's more, avoid them in the future, because if you spot a defect or there is some mistake in the process, you can take a photo, make a comment, it's saved in the system. So next time when you have a similar order or the same order, you make the same product, that note, that information is in the system. The person who is working on it can just click and read and see. Be careful, be aware. For example, polish the edges, or be aware of the rough edges of the product, of a metal element. And they avoid making the same mistake. You get to build your company know-how, your company database. It's there in the system. Every time there is a product, you can check on the comments how it should be done. So complaints are super, super important to avoid them. When you have them, that's a sign, do something about it. The last part is ISO 9001. When you want to have in your company, when you decide to have in your company, it requires you to have certain things. You have to know exactly who, what, and when produces what kind of elements, how long it takes. You need to have a full clearance of the whole process. The same goes for your employees. They have to have this information. They need to clearly, plainly see what they should do, how they should produce, and when, in which way. On top of that, you are normally, when you have your customers or required ISO, you decide it yourself, or you've got the auditors coming to the company, you are normally snowed under loads and loads of papers. Here, when you have manufacturing execution system, you have the software which allows you with a few clicks to get all the documentation you need without this elaborate and strenuous process. Sometimes our customers say that auditors were really impressed that they are just a small company, but in fact they are big, that their processes, that their order in their document, in their processes, the clearance was absolutely amazing. And sometimes the larger company should be jealous and should envy them that the way they have organized their production hall. So once you spot any of those signs, or even the slightest bit, I invite you to try to think about having manufacturing execution system and some traceability software. Prodio is a great example. Go to www.getprodio.com, click test for free, check out the free trials, check out the features, and see for yourself. It's working and it's worth it.